Scorpio, there is something you need to hear right now, and I will not waste your time getting to it. Be very careful with a certain man in your life, or one who is about to enter it. His presence may seem harmless, even flattering, but the energy he carries is subtle in its approach and deeply dangerous to your spirit, your confidence, and your divine purpose. This is not about physical harm or anything obvious that others can point to. It is about the quiet erosion of your light, the slow, almost invisible way someone can chip away at your worth until you begin to question the very things that make you who you are. If you stay with me, you will see how the signs have already been appearing, and why you have felt that uneasy twinge in your heart. You are a water sign with rare depth and mystery, and your natural magnetism draws people in like moths to a flame. Many come to be warmed, inspired, and healed by your presence, but there are others who arrive not to grow with you, but to take from you. They may want your intensity without understanding it, your vision without supporting it, your fire without respecting the fuel it takes to burn that brightly. At first, they appear as admirers lavish with compliments, eager to be close, curious about your world. But over time, those compliments begin to carry hidden barbs. Advice is wrapped in a tone of care but leaves you feeling smaller. Jokes are made at your expense, quickly followed by, "I'm just kidding," but a shadow remains in your chest. When I turn to the tarot for this season, the Seven of Swords makes its presence known, a figure moving in silence, taking what is most valuable without permission. In numerology, the current vibrations for Scorpio ring with a cautionary frequency, urging you to awaken, to discern with precision the difference between someone who lifts you higher and someone who slowly tilts the ground beneath you. And the words from Matthew 26 verse 41 rise like a shield around you, "Watch and pray so that you will not fall into temptation." This is a time for spiritual vigilance, for guarding your heart with the armor of prayer, meditation, and the daily word, so that your boundaries are not breached by words that seem sweet but are laced with control. This message is not here to make you fearful. It is here to bring you into full awareness and to strengthen your position. You have the right to live at your full size, to embrace your depth, and to express your passions without apology. If a man's presence leaves you feeling drained, confused, or doubting your worth, that is your signal. Trust the way your energy shifts after each interaction. Do not excuse it. Do not minimize it. This is your intuition, the same gift that has always protected you, speaking louder now because it knows you are ready to listen. If you are feeling a pull in your chest right now, or if a certain face comes to mind as you hear these words, that is no coincidence. That is divine timing. This is the moment to pay attention, to decide that you will no longer allow anyone to make you shrink to fit the limits of their own small world. You were created to carry light, to live with passion, and to fulfill a purpose that was written over your life before you took your first breath. No one who truly loves you will ever ask you to be less. I am deeply grateful for your presence here, for every moment you choose to listen, every comment you leave, every time you share these messages, and every subscription that draws you closer to this family. Your support fuels this work and allows these transformative truths to reach you exactly when you need them. And believe me, you will want to stay with me until the very end today, because what the universe is about to reveal is not only profound but could change the way you see someone in your life and the way you see yourself forever. If these words resonate, if you feel the truth of them stirring in your spirit, share it in the comments below to confirm your connection. Your voice might be the sign another Scorpio needs to hear to recognize their own truth. Stay here with me, because the next moments will open your eyes in ways you will never forget. Scorpio energy is unlike any other in the zodiac. It moves like a deep current beneath still water, mysterious, powerful, and magnetic. When you walk into a room, you don't have to announce yourself, the air shifts. People feel something they can't quite name, a pull that is equal parts intrigue and intensity. This is the gift and the paradox of your sign. You carry a light so concentrated that it illuminates hidden corners, both in yourself and in others. That light becomes a beacon for those who are seeking truth, healing, or transformation. But it also attracts those who are unprepared for the depth they find in you, or worse, those who consciously or unconsciously seek to control it. Astrologically, your ruler Pluto speaks to your natural command over cycles of death and rebirth, endings and beginnings, destruction and renewal. Combined with the emotional depth of your water element and the penetrating insight of your fixed modality, you are wired to see beyond masks. You notice what others overlook. The sun in Scorpio amplifies your presence, the moon in a water sign heightens your empathy, and Pluto's influence ensures that every connection you make has the potential to be transformative. Yet, this very ability to merge deeply with others can make you vulnerable when balance is lost. Those who do not understand their own shadows can project them onto you, using your openness as an entry point to manipulate or redirect your energy for their own purposes. In tarot, this dynamic often appears as the High Priestess crossing paths with the Seven of Swords. The High Priestess is the guardian of intuition, sacred knowledge, and the unseen. She embodies your capacity to hold profound wisdom and emotional truth. The Seven of Swords, however, represents subtle theft, not always of possessions, but of energy, trust, and confidence. Together, these cards tell the story of a soul rich in insight and spiritual treasure encountering forces that prefer to take rather than cultivate. It is not always malicious in the traditional sense. Sometimes it is simply the nature of those who have not yet learned to generate their own light. But the effect is the same. Over time, you may feel drained, second-guessing your worth, or questioning the instincts that once guided you so clearly. Numerology adds another layer of clarity. The numbers 9, 11, and 16 vibrate with messages that align directly with your current cycle. 9 asks you to stand in your role as a teacher and guide, but to be mindful of boundaries so you don't give away your energy without reciprocity. 11 carries the master vibration of intuition and illumination, a reminder that your inner voice is your truest compass. 16 warns of sudden revelations that expose hidden motives, events that may feel disruptive in the moment but ultimately free you from situations that diminish your power. These numbers are not just symbolic. They serve as frequency markers, tuning you into the lessons and protections you most need right now. To understand this fully, imagine yourself as a torch burning in a vast darkness. That flame is your life force, your passion, your drive, your capacity to love deeply and live authentically. In the dark, a torch is a gift. It offers warmth, guidance, and safety to those nearby. Many will be drawn to its glow out of genuine need and appreciation. But there will also be those who covet the flame, who feel smaller in its light and seek to cup their hands around it, not to nurture it, but to control where and how it burns. Some will try to shield it under the guise of protecting you, when in truth they are dimming it to make it less visible, less threatening to their own sense of security. Your challenge, and your strength, is to recognize the difference. Not every hand that reaches for your flame intends to fan it higher. Not every voice that says, "I'm helping you," is aligned with your highest good. The key is not to become guarded to the point of isolation, but to remain discerning, open to those who uplift, and firm in your boundaries with those who take. This is how you honor both your light and the sacred work it is meant to do in the world. When you remember that your energy is not an unlimited resource to be poured into anyone who asks, but a sacred fire to be shared with intention, you protect not only yourself, but also the purpose you were born to fulfill. When you begin to notice the subtle shifts in how you feel after interacting with someone, it's often the earliest signal that something is off. It might not be obvious at first. There is no loud argument, no blatant disrespect, no open betrayal. Instead, it comes wrapped in warmth, in the kind of attention that at the surface feels flattering, even caring. A compliment about your appearance that's followed by a suggestion to change it. A word of praise for your achievements, immediately trailed by a reminder of what you still lack. Advice offered in a voice that sounds supportive, yet somehow leaves you doubting your own decisions. This is the art of emotional erosion, and it works precisely because it's quiet enough for you to dismiss, at least at first. From the perspective of emotional health, this kind of interaction drains more than just your mood in the moment. It begins to rewire your perception of yourself. Each small remark is like a single drop of dye in clear water, slowly clouding your inner clarity. Over time, you might find yourself adjusting your behavior to avoid triggering more of those comments. You smile a little less brightly, speak a little less boldly, dress in a way that feels safer rather than authentic. This is how a person's light can be dimmed without them even realizing they are holding the dimmer switch in their own hands, influenced by someone else's touch. Astrologically, people drawn to Scorpio's depth are often magnetized by what they cannot easily control. Your intensity is like a mirror. It reflects back the truth of who they are, whether they want to see it or not. For some, this is inspiring. For others, it is unsettling. When it is unsettling, the instinct may be to reduce your intensity to make their own reflection more comfortable. But what is framed as helping you be more balanced can often be an attempt to mold you into a version that feels safer for them, not truer for you. In energy work, we understand this as a form of unconscious energy siphoning. By making you question yourself, this person subtly creates a dependency on their approval. When you start to believe you need their validation to feel good about yourself, they have gained a kind of control, not overtly, but through the gradual shaping of your self-image. This is why the aftermath of such interactions often leaves you tired, heavy, and unsure, even if the conversation seemed lighthearted or affectionate in tone. From a self-help perspective, the key to breaking this pattern lies in awareness. You must become an active observer of your own energy. Ask yourself, how do I feel right now compared to before this interaction? If the answer is consistently smaller, more unsure, or less hopeful, you are not in a nourishing dynamic. This doesn't mean the other person is inherently malicious. It means the dynamic is not aligned with your highest good, and it's your responsibility to shift it. Like a gardener protecting a rare and beautiful plant, you have to be mindful of what you allow into your soil. Some feedback can act like sunlight, helping you grow stronger. Other feedback can be like an invasive weed, wrapping around your roots until it steals the nutrients you need to thrive. Your job is not to question whether your light is too much, but to ensure that the environment around you supports its full expression. The more attuned you become to these subtle cues, the less likely you are to internalize someone else's discomfort as a flaw in yourself. You can hear their words without letting them take root. You can recognize that their reactions say more about their capacity to handle your brilliance than about your worthiness to shine. In doing so, you reclaim the most powerful truth of all: your light was never meant to be dimmed to make someone else feel safe. It was meant to burn steadily, guiding you toward the people and places where your true self is not only accepted, but celebrated. When it comes to preserving your energy, boundaries are not simply lines you draw in the sand, they are the sacred architecture of your inner world. Without them, even the strongest soul can be worn down by the constant drip of subtle criticisms, manipulative humor, or unsolicited advice disguised as concern. The moment you notice someone making a comment that leaves you feeling smaller, even if they laugh it off as a joke, that is the moment to acknowledge it. Naming the discomfort is the first step toward reclaiming your power. Waiting until it happens again only deepens the groove in which this dynamic can grow. Your energy is not meant to be a proving ground for someone else's comfort level. It is meant to be the environment where your purpose thrives. The most effective boundaries are not walls built in anger, but living structures rooted in clarity and self-respect. They communicate, without hostility, that you understand your worth and will act accordingly. This may mean telling someone directly, "That comment doesn't feel respectful to me," or choosing to disengage from conversations that leave you drained. Boundaries can be quiet yet firm, and the more consistently you honor them, the more they shape the kind of connections you attract. People aligned with your growth will adjust with care. Those who resist or belittle your boundaries reveal their true intentions without you having to dig for the truth. In self-help and emotional healing, learning to say no without guilt is a foundational skill. A boundary is not a punishment, it is a declaration of the conditions under which you can flourish. When you stand firmly in that truth, you train both yourself and others to approach you from a place of respect. It's an act of love for yourself first, but it also allows you to show up more authentically in every relationship. This is where the law of attraction intersects with personal empowerment. When you protect your own light, you raise your frequency, and those operating at lower, draining energies naturally drift away. You are not pushing them out, you are simply vibrating at a level they cannot sustain. Color can also play a powerful role in reinforcing this energetic stance. This week, imagine wrapping yourself in the deep, grounding richness of Bordeaux Rita hue that speaks of strength and rootedness. Let the clarity of emerald-like deep green support your emotional balance, encouraging harmony and stability in your heart space. And hold the purity of ivory white close as a reminder of your inherent worth, untouched by external judgments. These colors are more than aesthetic choices, they become visual affirmations of the energy you choose to embody. The first time you feel self-doubt creep in after someone's words or actions, pause and remind yourself that your value does not depend on their perception. The truth is simple: no one has the authority to redefine who you are. Your being is a unique expression, shaped by your own choices, experiences, and inner growth. You are not here to meet someone else's limited expectations. You are here to expand into the fullest expression of yourself. When you operate from that understanding, you become far less susceptible to emotional theft. The discipline of maintaining boundaries is ongoing. You will meet people who test them, intentionally or otherwise. But every time you reinforce a boundary with grace and firmness, you send a message into the universe about the kind of energy you allow into your life. This is not about isolation or mistrust, it is about creating the space where you can live your truth without compromise. Boundaries are your armor, but they are also your compass. They guide you toward relationships that nourish you and away from those that diminish your spirit. By choosing to honor them, you give yourself permission to stand fully in your light and invite only those who can honor it to stand beside you. One of the most powerful tools you can give yourself is the habit of conscious reflection after every meaningful interaction. It is deceptively simple yet profoundly revealing. When a conversation ends, when a meeting wraps up, when a shared moment with someone is over, pause and ask yourself with complete honesty, do I feel lighter, brighter, and more alive, or do I feel heavier, dimmer, and smaller? That single question has the ability to map the energetic landscape of your relationships with stunning accuracy. In astrology, especially for a sign like Scorpio whose energy runs deep and intuitive, this awareness is like a compass, showing you where your spirit is nourished and where it is quietly being drained. Documenting these impressions in an energy journal turns passing feelings into patterns you can actually see. When you write it down, who you were with, what was said, and how you felt, you create a mirror that reflects not just the truth of others, but also the truth of yourself. Over time, this record becomes impossible to ignore. You may realize that someone who seems supportive consistently leaves you questioning your worth. Or you may be surprised to see that a certain person's presence always leaves you inspired and ready to dream bigger. These patterns aren't about labeling people as good or bad, they are about understanding the energetic exchange between you and them. From the perspective of energy healing, this awareness is your first act of reclaiming control. It allows you to make adjustments not from a place of resentment, but from a place of self-preservation and intentional living. The next step is to consciously choose where to place your time and attention. If someone consistently dims your light, limit your exposure to them. If someone consistently helps you shine, prioritize and nurture that bond. This is not about cutting people off for the sake of it. It's about investing your energy where it can expand rather than erode. Incorporating daily practices can strengthen your resilience in these exchanges. A simple but potent method is the breath of cleansing. Slow, deep inhales to invite clarity, and long, grounding exhales to release anything that does not serve you. Pair this with visualization. See yourself surrounded by a sphere of protective violet light, a color often associated with transmutation and higher awareness. Let it wrap around you before and after interactions, absorbing any negativity and returning you to your own frequency. In the language of tarot, this is the work of the hermit, not isolation for its own sake, but the deliberate retreat into your own space so you can hear your inner voice without distortion. Creating two lists can further sharpen this awareness. One is the uplifters, people who expand your heart, challenge you to grow in healthy ways, and encourage your dreams without diminishing them. The other is the drainers, those whose words, even when wrapped in politeness, leave you feeling unsure, guilty, or less than. Look at these lists not as judgments, but as navigational charts. Your goal is to spend more of your precious, finite time in the presence of the uplifters, and to engage with the drainers in ways that protect your boundaries and preserve your peace. This practice is not about building walls, but about adjusting your filters. You are still open to the world, still capable of deep and meaningful connection, but you have refined the channels through which energy flows in and out of your life. You begin to realize that your light is not just a byproduct of your existence, it is a resource, a gift, and a responsibility. The more you choose to guard and nurture it, the more it grows, and the more naturally it will illuminate the path toward people, places, and opportunities that are aligned with your highest good. There comes a moment when holding on no longer serves your growth, and the only path forward is to release what has been dimming your light. For many, this is the most difficult part of the journey, not because you don't see the truth, but because your heart remembers the good moments, the potential you once believed in, or the hope that things might change. Compassion and empathy are among your greatest strengths, but they can also bind you to situations that no longer align with who you are becoming. You may find yourself excusing harmful behavior because you understand the pain behind it, or staying connected out of a belief that your presence can help someone heal. Yet true healing cannot happen in an environment where your own energy is being diminished. In astrology, Scorpio's nature is tied to transformation and regeneration. You are no stranger to endings, yet you feel them deeply. This is why letting go can feel like a small death, a shedding of a layer you once thought you could keep forever. But the cosmic truth is that every ending creates the space for something new to take root. When you choose to release, you signal to the universe that you are ready for what aligns with your highest good. This is not abandonment, it is the act of honoring your own frequency, ensuring that the space around you is fertile ground for your growth, not a constant drain on your vitality. Letting go does not erase the love or care you once had. It simply removes the constant friction that prevents your light from shining fully. You were not born to fold yourself into smaller shapes so someone else can feel more comfortable. You were born to burn brightly, to embody your soul's mission without apology. And in that truth lies your responsibility to yourself first, to make choices that keep your fire alive. The process of release can be both symbolic and practical. Start with your body, because your physical state reflects your energetic one. Gentle movement like morning walks or yoga reconnects you to your breath and your core, activating the energy centers that support stability, root chakra, and compassion, heart chakra. The rhythm of your steps, the flow of your breath, becomes a reminder that you are moving forward. Hydration plays a role too. Water cleanses, refreshes, and helps your body process the emotional weight you may be carrying. Choose pure, mineral-rich water and avoid stimulants like caffeine that can keep your nervous system in a constant state of alertness, making it harder to detach from stress. One powerful act of emotional closure is writing a farewell letter to the person or situation you are releasing. Pour into it everything you've held inside: the gratitude, the hurt, the hopes, and the truths. You do not have to send it. The act is for you, not them. When the words are complete, read them once to yourself, and then destroy the letter in a way that feels ceremonial. Burning it is a common choice. The flames transmute what was into what will never weigh you down again. As the paper turns to ash, imagine the ties between you dissolving, leaving you free to stand in your own light once more. This act of release is not a rejection of the past but a declaration for your future. It is choosing alignment over attachment, clarity over confusion, self-respect over self-sacrifice. And with every choice you make to honor your light, you step more fully into the version of yourself that was always meant to be seen. In letting go, you do not lose, you make space for the relationships, opportunities, and experiences that match the brilliance you were born to embody. Scorpio, as we come to the close of this journey together, I want you to hold one truth above all else: you are not here to be small, to fit into someone else's narrow version of who you should be, or to live under the weight of another's insecurities. You are not a victim of your circumstances, nor are you someone waiting to be rescued. You are the keeper of a sacred fire, a light that was entrusted to you long before you understood its power. Your mission is not to dim it for anyone, but to let it burn with full force so the right people can see you clearly and love you in truth. When you honor your own light, You step into a place where acceptance is no longer something you chase, it becomes the natural result of living authentically. The moment you stop adjusting yourself to please those who fear your intensity, you open the door to relationships and opportunities that match your depth, your passion, and your purpose. You don't have to shrink to be loved. You simply have to stand in your truth long enough for the right love to find you. This is your reminder that self-worth is not granted by others, it is cultivated within. Every time you set a boundary, every time you say no to what drains you, every time you choose to walk away from what doesn't align, you are reaffirming to yourself and to the universe that you deserve more. And the universe responds to that clarity with alignment, sending into your life the people, experiences, and blessings that honor the energy you've chosen to protect. So ask yourself now, where have you been giving away your light to those who cannot or will not honor it? What small adjustments can you make today to reclaim that power? If you could fully believe in your worth, without needing a single voice to confirm it, how would your life begin to shift? These are the questions that will guide you beyond this moment, into a reality shaped by your own intention. I want to thank you from the depths of my heart for being here, for showing up for yourself, and for allowing me to speak into your journey. Every like, every comment, every subscription to Miracle of the Sign is not just support for this channel, it's an act of participation in a community devoted to truth, empowerment, and transformation. Your presence here fuels this work and allows these messages to reach others who need them. If what I've shared today has resonated with you, if you've recognized pieces of your own story in these words, share it in the comments below. Your voice could be the sign another Scorpio needs to take their first step toward freedom. Let's build a space where our courage can inspire healing in each other. You are not fragile, you are not unfinished, and you are not too much. You are exactly as you were meant to be, an undeniable force, a light that refuses to be dimmed. Protect it fiercely, nurture it daily, and watch how your world transforms when you stop apologizing for the brilliance that was always yours. Stay with me, because this is not the end of your journey, this is the moment you choose to live it fully.